I was talking to a good friend of mine recently, and we started talking about superpowers people have, things that cause people to be really successful in life and in business. And this is a guy, he's a great messaging guy. He can put a great message behind anything. And he said, you know, Andrew, what your superpower is? Your superpower is the ability to not pine away for where you're from. This guy lives in Chicago, and we were talking about Chicago. We were talking about friends and family of his and people he's known who've moved back to Chicago. And I'm looking at the Google map as we're talking and mentioning restaurants and things to do in Chicago. And he's talking about how, some of his, people in his family, they've been going to the same restaurant for 50 years. They've been going to the same places. And it's not because they love it. It's not because it's necessarily the best. It's because that's what they know. And as we were talking about this, I said, I think what the other superpower is for me is I don't have to be part of a clique. I think what fascinates me is so many people maintain a nostalgic view of the way things were. So many people's lives is dictated by the way they felt going to the ice cream parlor or the cafe or the diner in 1983. They went there and studied for university, and now they're doing well, and now they're a lawyer, and they go back there because it has those memories. And yet so many people go through life settling for less than they can because of that, because they merely pine away for something that maybe doesn't even exist. I've never understood this idea of being proud that you were born on a patch of soil. Maybe this is the American in me. A lot of Americans are proud. I go to Montenegro in the summer, and people are fiercely proud of being Montenegrin. Their language is not Serbian, it's Montenegrin. And they're so proud, and I say to myself, like, what? Maybe I'm jealous. What is it that causes them, just by virtue of being born on this tiny patch of dirt, that's a source of pride? Growing up in Cleveland, Ohio, I would watch as our sports teams would lose again and again and again and get so close and clutch defeat from the jaws of victory. And now I look back and I see everybody who goes to the Browns games who are like who've won 4 out of the last 48 games, and I say to myself, why do I have to root for losers just because I was born on this patch of dirt, just because they're the closest representation? I've never understood that. To me, there are 2 ways that you can label yourself. The way that everyone else labels you, the way that is default, the way that you feel like you have to be labeled because that's just the way things are, and then the way that you choose to be labeled. What have you chose to do with your life? Are you an entrepreneur? Are you a philanthropist? Are you a husband, a wife? Are you a lover? A parent? What are the things that you've chosen? Rather than, I'm an Ohioan or I'm a Montenegrin. I think that the key to living a successful and intentional life is simply saying, I'm going to define myself. Nothing that has been assigned to me will define me. And what I see as adults is we all want to be part of a tribe. We all go out. For me, it was spending time in Asia. It was running into people who were the digital nomads who said, I'm fiercely independent. And they all go to the exact same place. And they all go to the same cafes in the same place. And they do the same things in the same place. And then they go out and they try and recruit people, because it's not enough to follow to, a place in digital nomad land, but now it's like we need to recruit more people because, let's make it bigger because, we want this to be a big thing. As if it being a big thing matters. To me, there's a quiet solitude in saying, the decisions I've made in life. I live in Kuala Lumpur part of the year, and part of the piece of that is, people come up to me and say hello, and that's great. But also knowing that I'm not surrounded by people who are entirely like me, that I can go out and experience life and be around other people and hear other opinions and experience other cultures and just be. And then I'm not trying to transplant my life in Boulder, Colorado to Chiang Mai, Thailand, and just try and recreate everything. Yeah, I like my creature comforts. I like to have a hamburger occasionally, but I also want to experience, that maybe there's a place that serves me better, and that I don't have to be dragged into being in someone's clique, and then I don't have to create a clique. The more I do this nomad capitalist thing, the more I realize this is a niche. This is something that most people are going to write off. A small number of people are going to be interested in, but never do anything about. And an even smaller number are going to enact into their lives. Most people never take the first step to start a business. They never take the first step to learn a skill. I remember reading one of Donald Trump's books, The Art of the Deal, perhaps, and in high school, and reading, how many thousands of people out there who could be amazing tennis players, maybe the best tennis players in the world, but they never pick up a racket. And that's why I've realized I'm not here to convince anyone to do this, but I do know that if you share the superpowers that I have, where you're able to look past what was assigned to you by nature of birth, what was assigned to you by people who wanted to control your destiny. If you're able to rewrite those labels, if you are able to stand on your own and do what is not always popular, do what is not always favorable, that you will be incredibly successful, that you will have the happiest life, that you will be able to make decisions that serve you, not others around you, but that serve you. To me, that is the point of Nomad Capitalist, is saying the fact that I was born in a country does not mean I owe them for the rest of my life. I get to control where my money goes. The fact that I was born in a country does not mean I need to have that passport for the rest of my life, or that I need to live there for the rest of my life, or that my children need to go to school there, because that's what someone else defined me. And some people will make the intentional choice. Yes, I'm from the United States. I wish to be from the United States. That's what's comfortable for me. That's where my kids will go. Yes, this is the place for me. And I still think even for that person, sound, reasonable diversification, real estate, banking, things like that, citizenship, I still think it's a good idea. But I understand some intentional people will make that choice. But I understand that others, when told, your country isn't number one at everything, you don't have as many reasons to be proud as you think, you don't get too carried away. Some people, when looking at that in a truly analytical way, will say, yeah, I want to go to Malaysia too, because I think I can be treated better there. I think I'll have a better life. I think I'll be happier. And no, my family doesn't have to understand. I hope they do. Some will. But I hope they respect me. And to me, those are two great superpowers to have. And if you have those, I think that's a real recipe for success and happiness.
Hi, I'm Andrew Henderson from Nomad Capitalist. I wrote this book, which you can find on Amazon, to distill a lot of the stuff we talk about in these videos and a lot of the stuff I've learned over the last decade plus traveling all around the world, teaching you about how to legally reduce your taxes, build your personal freedom, and create wealth faster. Definitely get a copy of this book if you want to learn more. Now, if you want to watch more videos, make sure you subscribe to our channel and make sure you click the notifications bell so you never miss one of our new videos with more tips on how to go where you're treated best. And if you're already a 6- or 7-figure entrepreneur and you'd like to put these strategies in place for yourself, go to nomadcapitalist.com and learn about how I can help you.